Hello everybody and welcome back to the fish room. So my name is Lou and I thought it was maybe time to do a little September tour because we've got some nice full tanks. Everybody's looking real good. So you are joining me here. I've just, as is customary, put some food in around for everybody. And this tank at the moment's just got a couple of green phantoms left in it. There is also the new Corydoras that we got in. So these are, well, they were supposed to be Corydoras narcissus. However, been having a look at them and there's maybe 2 or 3 different species here. There's a couple that could be one called Bethany, which is a very, very newly described species. There could be a couple of skunk cories, the old school skunk cories, and there could be a couple of narcissus in here. But there's a lot of mimicry that happens. So we've got lots of very subtle differences between a lot of the different ones. So we've got some that have long noses and black speckles down the side, and the black marking sort of heads down towards their like chin. And the nose is out sort of in the middle of the face. We've also got other ones where the mouth is sort of a little bit more underneath the body. It's at a little bit of a different angle, so they're more of like an equilateral triangle shaped head, and the stripe also tapers off and goes off towards their nose instead of down towards their chin. We've got some with boggly eyes. They've got like blue eyes that look like they're boggly even though they're not. So yeah, really, really exciting on these cories. I love it when I've got a little bit of an ID challenge. I know it's the bane of some people's lives, but I love sitting there and just scrolling through loads of photos of fish and learning the really, really tiny details. However, as a group, these guys are phenomenal. They are so, so active. I've barely seen them sort of nosing around the bottom. They're more of like a mid-shoaling Corydoras, which is more like what like the pygmy cories and all that do. So they're just having some Pleco pops. We've got a big old lump of cricky dough there, which they are loving. And then there's a couple of lumps of algae grazer down on the bottom. But no, really, really pleased with these. Even if they're not narcissus, as I ordered, they are just divine. I love that contrasting white and black. And yeah, as you can see, they're so, so active. So, so super active. There's a charming glob of liquid Pleco pops drip down the front of that tank. Isn't that charming? I do apologise for that. So yeah, in this tank otherwise we've got the little green phantoms, and then we've got some Sagicus cichlids in here. Most of them have now gone off to new homes. Now I'm trying really, really hard not to put my finger over the microphone, which is on the right hand side. However, the camera's on the left hand side, so it's either I'm putting my thumb over the front facing camera, I'm putting my thumb over the microphone. I'm going to try really, really hard not to do that because I did that in the last video and it was horrible. So next tank along, we've got my Rio Paraguay babies, which are growing out. They are now catching up to blue phantoms, which are also growing really, really well actually. They are just still a little bit shy, but they're all very, very plump and eating really, really well. But we are probably now at that stage where I need to think about separating this lot out into some different tanks. I might pop the phantoms in next door. If I work out what those cories are, they might move. But no, really, really pleased with this lot. Got heaps of blue phantoms in here. And really quite a few of these little Rio Paraguays as well. And some of them have just got amazing coloration on them. So the female, the mum of these is a super red that I imported from Czech Republic, like a really, really red version of the Ancestress Rio Paraguay. If you Google these, a really, really red one comes up. Whoever took the photo has actually messed with brightness and contrast a little bit because I can make mine look like that, but it's just a little bit more of a terracotta orange in real life. And then the dad of these is an F1 wild. So some of them have come out a little bit more wildy type, but they're doing really well. Actually just starting to sex out a little bit there. You can see some bristles on that one's nose. But no, it's one of those things where I'm procrastinating a little bit because I don't really want to get in here and try and catch all of these out, because there's a lot of them and I'm going to miss some. And once I've started, I don't like it if I've got like random ones in other tanks. It's very frustrating. So once I've started, I will not stop until every single one of them is out into a bigger tank. However, they'd probably all be better off in the next tank along now, and then have something different in here, because they're maybe sort of about 4 or 5 centimetres now, a couple of inches. Yeah, look, that's definitely a male there. Next door are the snowballs. Just done a water change on this tank. However, there's one. Hopefully I can, there we go. See, this phone's a little bit more efficient than the other one, because I can sort of zoom in and focus and adjust the exposure and things while I'm live. So that's good. And it's also got the built-in noise reduction, which hopefully is helping loads. But we've got the little L201 Ornamental Angel snowballs in here. I just spooked all of them, but they were digging into this. So maybe in a minute I'll be able to sort of scroll up a little bit and we'll be able to see them. I think it's the same tank next below. I've just done a water change on this one as well. It's Angelicus in here, and there's a clown Pleco. Gonna let us see you a little bit better. Yeah, there's a couple of clown Plecos sort of dotted around at the moment. They're all supposed to be in a different tank, but I keep finding them. So this next tank along is the L136B. I don't think they have a common name. It might be the fine spotted ancestress, but there's quite a few that come under that name of fine spotted. And I did have a funny little Hydra outbreak in this tank, which I'm not entirely sure why. I think it's mostly down to just I was putting a little bit too much food in, because these guys love to eat. They are such super active and friendly eaters. I say that as I've come down here and none of them are eating food. But I think I was overfeeding. So Hydra, you just got to keep like sucking them out and cut down on the amount of food, especially like floating food bits, because Hydra can like regenerate. They're basically invincible. But these are very nice L136B. So you can either get A's, B's or C's with these. The C's are the ones with the really big spots, more like a snowball, and then you've got the A's, which have loads and loads of really tiny spots, more like the L262, but these are obviously a lot bigger than my L262s, which hopefully I'll be able to show you in a minute. But these are really friendly and active. I very much enjoy these. So over on this rack, I've got most of the other Hypoancistrus. So this is a L333 Belamonte Gold Hypoancistrus. So a lot of shops are actually selling these as L236 Belamonte. There's no such thing. Belamonte is a place. So these were originally from the Belamonte region, and they've got a higher body, which is why they bred them out, because they're a slightly different look to them than the normal L333s. I think it's mostly males in here. They're all very much in their tubes most of the time. This one's quite brave, but I vented it, and it's also a young male, so... Oh, there's another one coming out. Big old wide head on it. They're a good bunch, though. They enjoy their food. They keep to themselves pretty much. She says, as that one's about to try and get in the cave with that. But very good looking L323s with very big black stripes on them. And then I'm going to do this as slowly as possible, because they're all going to spook. But there are L236 next door. This bunch, it's taken me a while to tame them up. There's a couple of characters that I see a lot, and there's a couple of characters that love to freak out and scare everybody else off. But the main difference between the L333s and the L236 is that these have a very triangular forked tail,
and L333s don't. These are also a little bit more sort of like flat, and they have a little bit more of like a wild look to them. So you'd probably class these as L236 basics. There's a couple in here that you'd probably class as RB. Basically, even super white ones are going to produce fry that look like this. These guys could easily produce super white fry. It's just the odds of it happening are much, much lower. So then it just becomes that sort of subjective, what do you find really attractive on one of these fish. This one's really pretty because it's like little bendy puzzle pieces. And then there's other ones that have like more like spots. Or maybe some that have a lot of black on them. Maybe there's some people out there that really like ones that are more black than white. Like a reverse super white, that would be quite cool. I've also got a couple of random guppies in here that I'm just trying to see what happens with. These are hybrids from different show strains that I had when all the females jumped into the wrong tanks, and I've basically separated out the ones that look cool. So I've got like these orangey ones in here, and then in the tank below there are some sort of whatever he is, basically, but I'm mixing a whole bunch in here. So we've got quite a few shrimp in this tank, if my camera wants to obey, and there are also the little, there's one, L519, which is quite a new species of Pleco that was described relatively recently. So these are bristle noses, very similar to the Rio Paraguay actually, but they keep these very, very bright checkerboard patterns on them as they age, which is really, really pretty. They've also got bright white stripy fins. So they are a little bit different to the Rio Paraguays. And I've heard reports of these breeding as small as 2 inches, which is pretty impressive, really. Come on, camera. Oh, it's been so good the whole time, and then once we've got down to this tank, it doesn't want to play ball. Next door, I've got a couple of little red bristle noses that they're in my like not sure category, because people ideally want these sexed out, and sometimes you've got ones that have got bristles that could be female, because bristle nose females can have bristles, just mostly sort of around the moustache instead of like a full sort of tentacle ordeal. So I'm keeping these in here separate to some of the other ones so that they breed, not breed out, so that they grow out, and I'm able to tell the genders of them. There's also the false zebras in here, but they don't come out very much anymore. It's funny, when they were younger they came out a lot, but now that they're breeding size pretty much, I've had them in nearly a year now, some of them, they are more like the L236 to be honest. They're a little bit more shy. And there's some, I just call them like wild type endlers in here. Some of them are really pretty actually. Tank below has the last of the gold bristle noses that I bred at the start of the year. And there are also clown plecos in here. Let's see, how are you feeling, camera, about that? There we go. So the clown plecos are all supposed to be down here with this lot. But I mean, they're so good at hiding. And then in this tank is my horde of Aspidoris raymondis. And I say horde. I started off with 6 wild ones of these. 6 or 7 wild ones. And all of the ones you see, aside from the 2 or 3 adults that are left, are ones that were born here from the original lot. So they are now very much a colony. And basically all I did was I just keep them cool, feed them loads. They're pretty much in here on their own. There's obviously some snails and a single white bristle nose who I'm growing on. Just lots of moths and breeding mops. And they just constantly breed. If I lifted those mops up, loads and loads of tiny babies would come out. But they really like it down here. And they just multiply constantly. They grow really, really quickly. and they are super, super easy to keep happy. The main thing with Aspidoris is they're more of a temperate species, so they don't really like to be too hot. That's why they're down here in one of the bottom tanks. And yeah, chuffed with this lot. It will eventually reach a point where I need to start, you know, selling these off in little groups of 5 and things, but I just really enjoy having all the different like ages of them and having them all together. Parents, babies, siblings. Super duper cute. So next along, there is a surgical cichlid in here who's not feeling very good at the moment. She's sort of in here as like a hospital tank, mainly because I didn't really have anywhere else for her to go. But she's in with these beautiful little captive bred stir-by cories. Highly recommend DJA Aquatics. He's got a channel here on YouTube, but he's a friend of mine. He bred these. He seems to have a really, really good knack with breeding cories, actually. I know a lot of people that have been trying to breed cories in the last year or so, and a lot of people have lost a lot of fry, or there's been just weird goings on. However, these little stir-bys are amazing. They are doing really, really well. And what impresses me is, aside from that one, which apparently was in a different tank, they're all really, really evenly sized. They all have really, really nice round bellies. And just generally a really, really healthy batch of fry. So, little stir-by babies. Corridor stir-by. Tank next door. It's fine, I caught my foot on a chair. Tank next door, we have leopard frog plecos. So I've actually just moved some fish around. So we've got the leopard frogs in here, and then I've also I've got them in with the little epistrogramoides that came in on the delivery, and there's also a few hydra in here, but the epistrogramoides have been eating them. They are over in this corner. Whoops. I might be able to attach some B-roll of them. They are, however, doing really, really well. So I've just been in here catching the rest of the L471 snowballs out of here to put in my breeding tank, because my male decided to beat the female up. So I've taken her out and put a couple of different ones in because they weren't compatible. So we've got the little leopard frog plecos in here, L134 Picoltius, Picoltia compta. I'm not entirely sure why they call them leopard frogs. There is like a picture of a frog on their heads when they're younger. Like if you look at them from above, it does look like a child's drawing of a frog. And when they grow up, they do get a little bit more spotty, but it's not enough that I understand why they're called leopard frogs. They also croak a little bit when you pick them up at the tanks, but all Picoltias do that. So, but no, the little epistrogramoides are doing really, really well. They are quite shy. They're a bit camera shy. Best time to see them is before I go with all the lights off. But they're not the biggest fan of the camera. If it's just me, fine. But obviously they have come in from the wild, so just a little bit unsure. So this is another tank down at the bottom. Also just did a water change on this because I'm really trying to get these mustard spots to breed. So there's Venezuelan orange cories in here, Corydoris, my goodness, white Smani, which are these beautiful 2-spotted ones. There's a random green spot bristlenose in here as well. But this is mostly a Corydoris, random bristlenoses I haven't been able to catch, and mostly mustard spot tank. It's supposed to be just Corydoris and mustard spots in here. Haven't had any luck breeding them yet. Probably need more time, but I will give them as long as it takes, basically. There's also some Rubos tea in some of these next tanks, which I'm trying out. Interestingly, the which ones was it? The shrimp in the whiptail tank actually ripped one of them open and ate all of the tea out of it, so I found that interesting. But no, little bit of a random tank down here. These Corridorus white smileys are absolutely divine. They're so, so pretty. But it's just a little bit difficult to see because the cable on this tank doesn't stretch far enough. So half of the tank's really dark, and I've just got this patch of light at the front where you can actually see what's going on with all the tannins and things. But they're very similar to the panda cories. So I've had to put the room lights back on now because these top tanks have really, really tiny occupants and the lights just aren't bright enough. This top row actually doesn't have any lights on them. However, our little Otocyclus cucamas that came in on our delivery are doing so, so well. Look at them. Look how plump they are. They are so, so chunky. They're really, really enjoying the Pleco pops. If the camera will focus on their little faces. Beautiful tiger stripes. So these are Otocyclus cucama, the zebra otto. And yeah, these have obviously only been in the country for a couple of days now. Came in our Peru delivery. But yeah, those bellies and those appetites, these are such good feeders compared to your normal ottos. So next door we have the Robocop ottos, which are acting as they should. They're mostly hanging out at the top. They're also really enjoying the Pleco pops, but I do have to wait a good half hour before they will all be on it. But they are definitely doing really well. They're all chilling out up at the top. They are eating really nicely. I wonder if I can turn that, there we go, turn the exposure down a little bit on this. They're all just hanging out at the back at the moment. They seem to quite like stinging nettles, so they've been getting stinging nettles and the Pleco pops and things. Now, isn't that funny? Would you say that that would be a male with the red head and the three ones with the grey heads are going to be females? That's interesting, isn't it? Because that looks like it's got a wider head on it as well. But maybe it's just the way the light is catching it. But these little Robocop ottos, Nanotopoma, also known as orange Otocyclus, even though they're not Otocyclus. Beautiful little fellows with these little red heads and stripy bodies. And this is without any lights on the tank either. This is just with room lights. I don't know if any in the tank below are going to be visible. Oh, there's a couple on the back there, look. That my camera doesn't want to say hello to. Love that. So I've got the 397s in here after giving them a little bit of a break and also accidentally putting two males in a tank together to breed instead of a male and the females. They haven't done anything yet, but I think we're winding up to it. So I'm hopeful for some fry in the next week or so. The female's massive, but I have really set this up in such a way that even if I put the flash on, I can't see down in these caves. Story of my life with these 397s. So we've got the Brocus multiradiatus, which are a very, very large version of your normal Brocus. And I do really need to clean the glass in here. They've got a long nose and probably sort of about 4 or 5 inches really, including the tail. So they're just in here with a couple of randomers. I think there's just 2 Acaras left in here. Then there's my Pulchers and like 2 Bristlenoses that are doing a really, really bad job of cleaning the glass. So I'm trying to keep this tank really, really low stress. In fact, I've just popped lights on this tank for the first time this week since the Brocus arrived. However, they are beautiful and they're doing really, really well. They're a little bit sort of beat up still, but I think the Pulchers are sort of giving them a little bit of sort of strength and bravery. So this is quite a cool tank. Oh, what's just happened? Everyone's just suddenly decided that they're not afraid of me anymore, so they want to come out and have a go at the cricky dough. So yeah, it's quite a cool tank. These guys don't really like it too warm. It's about 24 down here, 23, 24. Lovely orange belly. There we go. So that, yeah, they're not too stressed out by the lights.
random Pleco just coming out. So they are the Brocus multiradiatus. Probably gonna switch these lights back off again now. And yeah, really need to clean the glass next time. Did I do a water change on this tank today? Yeah, I've done a water change on this tank today. I really should have stuck my hand in and actually cleaned the glass when I was at it. But look at the size of him. Absolutely glorious.
There we go. So starting to wind up now. Just more sort of my personal tanks towards the end of the fish room, sort of over in this direction. So we've got a couple of my interesting little whiptails and farlowellers in here. There is the group of not blue medusas, normal medusas, true medusas that we got in on the Brazil in here as well. But they all hang out behind this bit of wood. There's a pectoral fin, look. But this is mostly my whiptails, and also got my diamond tetras in here. There is my discus, but I'm hopefully going to be moving him to a new home soon so that he can be with some more discus, because he's not thriving, you know. He's all right, but he's not thriving. There's a couple of super red bristlenoses that I've kept back because they are really, really clean, and I'm going to breed them. And then, yeah, these beautiful long-nosed whips, long-nosed farlowellers, really, really beautiful. I think they're great. And then, yeah, the diamond tetras, which can't really be beaten, in my opinion. They are so pretty. We've got some of them, so that's a female there. And they do breed. And then, yeah, the males get these beautiful, beautiful sort of silken filigree fins and this beautiful sparkly scalage on them. Cool. Move around a little bit. So that's this one. Very chill little community tank, although these guys would tear to shreds any sort of like guppies or fighting fish or anything I put in here, so it's not really a peaceful community tank. I say that and the males will start displaying to each other and chasing each other around, but they are doing really well. And these tetras breed in here. I've got quite a few babies, like that one there was born in this tank, so I figure they're pretty happy. But no, my favourite tetra species, the diamond tetra.
So last but not least, oh, we'll do bug at the end as well. So this is my sort of Xingu biotope tank, which there's a bunch of the beautiful big sultan plecos in here, which are doing really, really well. There's also the L027 Xingu as well. But these guys are all super, super active, super chunky. So they're like the plecos in here, and then I've got a couple of my own cichlids in here as well. The trouble is this tank's directly under the Velux windows, so even though I've got a light on here, it's very, very difficult to show you what's going on. I've got some unusual crobia, got about 5 hot plows in here. Oh gosh, you really can't see much. And yeah, I'll insert a video here with loads of reflections in it, but basically got 3 Astronotus Perspilis in here and 1 Astronotus ocellatus, but to be honest, the stars of the show, in my opinion, are these sultan plecos. But my goodness, I really, really do need a blind or something, or just, I don't know, it's just the position of this 5 foot. Since I moved it, you just can't make out anything that's going on in here. Here we go, and to finish off, Bug's actually sulking with me right now because I've just done this whole tour and I didn't put any food in for him. So we'll finish off by giving him some food. However, if you are new here, Bug is my rescued giant boo puffer. So he was a rescue. When I got him, he was very, very thin and he was blind. He's still got pretty dodgy vision. But he was also bent, he wouldn't move, he couldn't see, and I definitely recommend having a look at that video. The audio is really dodgy on it because I took it with my old phone after I dropped it in a muddy puddle. However, he's doing so, so well now. He's a beautiful big fish.
I don't think anybody really needs these. I'm not gonna lie. I've got I'll show you. I'll pop a clip in of the arowana as well. I've got a Giardini arowana who hates coming out on camera. And I've also got an emperor snakehead that I'm growing out. But this fish is a serious fish. Like, the amount of water changes I have to do on this 6 foot round pond. Bearing in mind, this is like a 200 odd 300 gallon pond. The amount of water changes I have to do to cope with his waste is insane. But as you can see right now, he's sulking. This is what he does. If he realises I'm about and I'm not feeding him, he just disappears. He goes under the rim and he sulks. And he gets in a huff. So, but yeah, he is a boot puffer, African species. As far as I know, they are the largest freshwater puffer species, not the biggest pufferfish species. But probably about, yeah, mouth to tail, easily 2 foot, probably even bigger. That piece of slate there is 2 foot. So he's a really, really good size. He's really straightened out now as well. And he's a right sweetheart. So, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to leave you here with a couple of clips of bug eating, which I will film separately, so I don't drop my phone. Oh, just to finish off, let me show you the last one before we finish off with that. So, this is Ermintrude. So, I went to the IHS show last weekend, and I've had white tree frogs as my wallpaper on my phone for ages, actually. I've been obsessed with them for ages. Couldn't leave her there. So anyway, she's currently sleeping up in the corner. I've just peeled back this. She's mostly getting sort of like covered up at the moment. So this is what I've got set up for her at the moment, which is just, I mean, this is the bare minimum for a white tree frog. I'm not really a herb expert, so but I read that they like eucalyptus, so there's some like fake eucalyptus in there. She likes her coconut pot. And yeah, I've had her about a week. I love learning new things, so looking after a new animal is really, really fun. And she's just sort of sleeping up in the corner here. She reckons we can't see her. She's being a very, very stealthy frog. Very, very stealthy frog. But I swear she's already grown. So that's what she's in at the moment. However, I had this cracked cyano tank. You can see on the bottom it's cracked, and there's also a crack on the, well, it's the back. It is the front, but it's the back. So over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be working this out for her. So she's got way more height, and as she grows into an adult white tree frog, she will have enough space. So yeah, I've got to work out a mesh lid. I've got a silicone in that fake polystyrene rock that's always in the way. And that could be quite an exciting little project. So it's always good to learn new things. I do obviously have snakes, and I've got Agatha the turtle, but my snakes don't have live plants or anything in their enclosures. I like things to be really, really easy to clean with those. So, but yeah, lots and lots of animals. It's starting to feel like I've got one of everything. But I love frogs. I'm obsessed with frogs. I love them to pieces. And the white tree frogs, I just find them hilarious. So yeah, I got a new little friend. And they can live like 20 years. So yeah, she's going to be here for a while. But sleeping during the day is sort of like mostly what they do, and then they're completely nocturnal. So I do have one of the night vision cameras trained on her tank, so I can watch her in the evening. But anyway, I've got a grumpy pufferfish here, so I better go grab some food. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.